All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday night team Zoom. These are not going to be weekly Zooms like they used to be, but I want to connect with you guys once or twice a month. And I hope that's okay if I'm a little sporadic and like surprise you from week to week. But I really wanted to hop on here and chat with you guys tonight because this last week, I attended an event called the Global Leadership Summit, and this is my third year going. And the first year, it was just me and my girlfriend Lynette who told me that I had to go. Cami Pentecost and Denise Walsh, who were our two original Black Diamonds. They are the two people the two very first Black Diamonds to promote in the company, had been going to this event called the Global Leadership Summit for years. The first time I went, I believe it was like their 9th year. And if you guys are new, to be a Black Diamond, you have to make a minimum of $100,000 a month for 6 consecutive months in order to qualify for a Black Diamond, okay? And it's if you listen to their stories, I know that Denise actually made it 5 months in a row, and in the 6th month, got a $98,000 check, which means she did not qualify for a Black Diamond, which is just crazy because she worked so hard for it. She literally had to start her Black Diamond journey all over again from scratch, $100,000 a month for 6 consecutive months in order to earn that title. But I was thinking, if people that make $100,000 a month say that this is an important thing to go to, I'm going to show up, right? Because success leaves clues, and I want to do what successful people are doing. And so I went, and that was 3 years ago, and I left, and I just can't even tell you the emotional download that I had coming out of that weekend. And so I came and I told all of my leaders, I was like, you guys have to get to this event next year. And the next year, 2 of my leaders went, and they came out of it and they were like, this event changed my life. And then the 3 of us were talking about it. And then this year I had 4 of my leaders go. So there were 5 of us total that went. And again, they came out of it and they're like, this event changed my life. And I don't even know what to compare it to, but coming out of that space, you're heavy and you're processing and you're growing, and you just kind of need to be alone for a second and quiet all the noise that we have going on every single day. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like kind of like if you've been on like a retreat, like this amazing women's retreat or couples retreat or whatever, and you just need a minute to yourself to like figure out, okay, how am I going to implement all of this into my daily routine so that I don't fall back into those past patterns that I've been living with all these years. That's kind of where I was at. And so thank you guys for being patient with me this last weekend when I was gone, and just growing and learning and all of the things. If any of you want to go to this next year, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Every single one of you are a leader. Whether you're a leader in this business right now is completely irrelevant, because you are a leader if you're a mom. You are a leader as a part of your community. You're a leader as a sister or a brother. You're a leader as a spouse. You are a leader in your church. You're a leader in your small groups. You're a leader at your MOPS group. Whatever it might be, you have the ability to impact the world around you with just the smallest little decisions. And so every single one of you, I would implore you to go to this event next year. Today, if you sign up today is the last day yesterday and today, they're offering way discounted prices. The tickets are normally $210. So $210 for 2 days, totally worth it, worth far more than that. But if you sign up today, and I will post the link after this Zoom, it's $130. So for those of you who have $130 laying around for an event that will change your life, get your ticket, and it's at a site location, a satellite location near you. So wherever you live, you can go to their website and you can find an event that is probably within 5 minutes to an hour of you max. And it's broadcast in over 100 countries all over the world. And you guys, this leadership summit is literally changing cultures. It's changing the way that women are seen in Middle Eastern countries. It's changing the way that communications are operated in Africa. It's so global. It is absolutely amazing, but it starts with you. And if you want to go, get your ticket tonight. And if you can't afford the $130 now, in the coming months, I will put out an It Works Global discount code where you can get a ticket for $160. And then that'll give you a little bit of time to save. But guys, like if we can just come together as a community and be better, everything is going to change. And that's one of the things that I love so much about this business is that we like, it just everything we do this together, and as we get better together, we're going to change the world. And it's just might be a little ripple effect right now, but it's exciting to see how far those ripples are going to go. Okay, so anyway, that was my Global Leadership Summit like little plug. I would love for you guys all to go, and this is not for conference, this is for the Global Leadership Summit. It will be next August. Definitely want you guys saving for conference as well. Conference is It Works Global Annual Leadership Annual Conference, and that will be in either January or February in 2018, and I want you guys saving for that as well. But anyway, this is just absolutely impactful. And so I want to talk to you guys just for a minute about dreaming, okay? And the reason I want to talk to you about dreaming is because if your dreamer is broken, you're going to fall off the map in just a second. And I was actually in a class, I'm doing Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey, which by the way, if you guys haven't done that, another plug for Dave Ramsey, just do it. It will totally change your financial trajectory for generations to come. But one of the things that I heard in the class, not from Dave Ramsey, from my class teacher who like made it up on the spot, so I'm going to steal it, is she said, perfection steals perseverance. And I thought that that was so good and so applicable to us as people, as human beings, as distributors, as a team, because what do we want to do? We don't want to start until we have all of the answers, until we can answer all of the product questions, until we know the compensation plan, until we sound like an expert talking about things. Or we don't want to keep going because we're looking left and we're looking right and we're comparing ourselves to other people who might have a little bit of a quicker journey than you. And so I want to talk to you guys just for a second about your why and about setting that up. Because the one thing when you start this business, like, and your sponsor probably asked you this when you came in, why are you here? Okay. Now, for some of you, it may have been something on the smaller scale, like I need to make $300 a month. Now, me as a sponsor, if somebody tells me they need to make $300 a month, I say, why? Why? And if they can't think of a reason, they need to stop everything and they need to figure out that reason. Because that reason might be, well, because I need to buy groceries. And then you need to dig further into that. Well, what happens if you don't have that $300 to buy groceries? I can't get my baby diapers. What happens if you don't have your baby diaper, if you can't buy diapers for your babies? That's a huge reason, right? So that $300 might sound small to somebody on paper, but that might be a huge why for that person, right? So every single why, whether it's my car is about to break down and I have to be able to drive my kid to cancer treatments, right? Like that's a pretty big why, to I need to be able to put gas in my car, to I need to be able to get my family groceries, to we're about to get our house foreclosed on. And we need to come up with some money fast. Or my husband's in the military and I want to bring him home so he's not deployed anymore. You guys, like all of these things, they all matter. So I know that some of you might be looking at other people's whys and saying, well, my why doesn't matter. It's not that big. It's not that important. I don't have kids. I have dogs or whatever. You know, I don't have a husband. I have a boyfriend. I'm single, no kids, no responsibility, whatever. You need to figure out why you're here, because if you can't figure out why you're here, you're not going to be here long. And I want to see all of you not just here for a second. I want to see you here in 10 years. And I want to hear your stories of your successes and your failures and your accomplishments and the people's lives that you have drastically changed because you're here. So what I see so often is that people come in and they're really, really excited and then they fade off. And they want change. Like you started for a reason. You started because maybe you don't have enough time with your family, or because you work 12-hour days and you never have any vacation time, or you want to bring your husband home because he's in a dangerous, life-threatening job every day, or you want to put your kids in private school because they're being bullied. Whatever your reason is, you all start with a reason. And then what I see happen very quickly is that excitement of why you started fades off. And it fades off because it starts to get hard. And it's interesting because you want change, but you're scared of the action steps you have to take in order to see that change happen. And what happens is you're going to have somebody come at you, and it might be a family member, it might be a close friend, it might be some totally random stranger on Facebook, or somebody from somebody else's host to post that you haven't known for 2.5 seconds. And they say, this is a scheme, you're taking advantage of people, you're never going to make any money, why don't you go out and get a real job? And you know what? You let those things stop you dead in your tracks. Instead of that being a bump in the road like it should be, it becomes a stop sign. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to think long-term perspective. You need to think the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? We live in a hare society. Everybody's running this way and that way, and they can't sit still for 2.5 seconds. They're texting and driving, or they're scrolling Facebook and driving, because God forbid we miss a post that our friends made. And, while we're on our way to the grocery store, we can't sit still for 2 seconds. You need to think about this business like I'm the hare. You need to think about this as a marathon, not I'm going to get there in 2 seconds. And when you can think about it as a marathon, maybe you started and you're like, I am going to go straight to the top, and you have a huge 3-month goal. And maybe your 3-month goal is, I want to go diamond in 3 months, and I'm going to earn all of these bonuses. Well, if you think about this as like a 5-year business, if you think 5 years down the road and we have a little bit more time perspective, then that 3 months is like nothing. It's like a flash in the pan, right? But if you can think 5 years down the road, it's just a daily activity, daily habits. But what's going to keep you doing those daily activities? Your why. Your why is the only thing that will keep you in the game. So for those of you who are part of my runners group, for the last few months, we start a new one every month, and I'm not going to be able to start another one in October or September just because there's too many people. For those of you who are part of that, I had you write down 30 things, 30 reasons why you're here. 30 reasons why you're doing this business. And that could be, I need to get school supplies. I need to buy my kids new shoes. I want to take my family on a vacation to Disney and pay cash. I want to take my husband to Hawaii. I want to go on a European cruise. I want to build a house. I need a new car. I want to give back to human trafficking. I want to give back to my church. I want to help pay my grandparents' bills because they're in a nursing home or whatever. Your list could be something so big or so small, but a minimum of 30 things. And what happens is when you write down 30 things, minimum, that's your starting place, something for every single day, you start to expand your brain. And you start to expand your reasons why you're here. Is it to make new friends? Is it to be a part of a community of people that want more for their life and that are visionaries and that are going to push you to do better and be better even when it's hard? Is it because you want to travel and, have it be a tax write-off, right? Because that's always a good reason to be here. I love traveling with you guys. Is it to maybe so your husband can work less hours and your bills can still get paid? Maybe you need to pay off your credit cards. Whatever your thing is, it can be big or small. You want to have nail money every month. You want to get healthy. You need to come up with what is the emotional reason behind that thing. And when you're posting on social media, your emotions are going to be attached to that, and people are going to resonate with you. And the thing that you need to remember is that people are going to see through you if you're not being genuine. They can see it a million miles away, okay? So when you're posting these things, it needs to be from your heart. It needs to be your story, not my story, not Melissa's story, not Clara's story, not Amanda's story. It needs to be your story. And I don't want you to devalue your story in any way, shape, or form, because your friends are yours for a reason, because they connect with you, because they love you. Your friends probably wouldn't connect with me the way that they connect with you. And so you need to be true to who you are. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to dig deep, and I want you to figure out what is your why. And some of you are like, well, I just started because I need to lose some weight and I want to be able to pay for my products. Okay, so then I want you to ask yourself, why do you want to lose that weight? Well, because when I'm tired of going out and thinking that everybody's looking at me and calling me fat in their head. Or maybe it's because I'm so overweight that I can't get off the couch and play with my kids on the floor because it hurts. Or because I'm out of breath. I can't chase them around the yard. Like, you need to figure out why. And until you can really dig down deep into that why and get brutally honest with yourself, you're not going to stick. Because you know what's going to happen? There's going to be people every single day. I talk to people every day, you guys, that are like, your products are junk. I don't want what you have. You're just hustling people, whatever. Like, you're never not going to have that. And that might be really scary for some of you being brand new in the business. But you know what? When I first started, it used to affect me. And I used to think, oh my gosh, like, what if what they're saying is true? But now I just laugh about it. And I'm like, this is going to be a really good story one day. Because one day I'm going to be able to talk to some of you. I'm going to be able to talk to whoever. And I'm going to be able to tell them my story of, yeah, that happened today. And you know what? I didn't quit. But what does it take? What does it take to be successful? It takes developing momentum. And developing momentum is going to be the single hardest thing you will ever do, okay? In order to develop momentum, it's literally you pushing a giant boulder up a mountain. And I'm not exaggerating. People who are successful in this business are not successful because they got lucky or because it was easy or because they decided to stay up late watching Netflix and then sleep in and, you know, go have lunch with their girlfriends and all of a sudden they're diamonds, right? The people who are successful in this business are successful because they developed daily disciplines, and that's not something that we're born with. That is something that has to be developed. Daily discipline and that desire to develop yourself further takes a lot of work. And so one of the things that I see amongst all of my leaders and amongst some of the girls that you're going to hear from later is that they intentionally do personal development. And the longer you're in this business, you will hear us harp on that day in and day out, personal development. And that is because your paycheck can only grow past, as far as your mind will let it. And so if you are not developing your mind, your paycheck is going to start to be, it's going to be really, really small. Sorry, I've got like bugs flying around me. I don't want your paycheck to be small. I want your brain to be so expanded and your dreams to be so big and then your paycheck to match it. I want you all to be getting 5-figure paychecks. I want you all to be in a place where you have options for your family, where you can tell your husband, you don't have to go to work unless you love it. Because you know what? I got this. I want you all there. But it's only going to happen if you have your stuff in order, okay? So the very first thing that I want you guys all to do tonight is I want you to just figure out, why am I here? Not just your surface reason of why you're here, but why are you really here? And if you're not here, what does that look like for your family? What does that look like for you physically? What does that look like for your kids? What's the implication what kind of implication are we gonna have 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 50 years down the road? What's that gonna look like for you? And I want you to think long term. And then daily, I want you to make the decision to do a couple of things. The first thing you need to do is you've got to plug in, okay? You got to plug in to check on your team page. You got to get on corporate calls, team Zooms, etc., things like this that are going to fill your cup. You got to get around like-minded people. You need to look at your events calendar. Look at your events calendar and find an event near you. And when I say near you, I mean within 5 hours, okay? Not near you like 5 minutes down the road. I mean like near you, like how many people, or, you know, like can we load up a car full of people and can we get to an event? Because you need to be around your brothers and sisters that have the same vision as you. that is what's going to keep you here. And that is what's going to continue to feed your soul. Okay. And it's going to teach you the how to. And that's the thing. I always hear people say, well, how do I become a distributor? How do I go diamond? How do I get my check to $5,000 a month? And you know what? When you know what your why is, the how will figure itself out. And that's why I want you guys all to be so crystal clear on your why. And the other thing I want you to do, besides showing up every day, is I want you to do your personal development. And Chad Kneller has a personal development Zoom going over the John Wooden Pyramid of Success every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And that is at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central a.m. It's early, but we have people from Alaska that hop on there, you guys. That's 4:30 a.m. Alaska time, and these girls are getting up and getting on. Why? Because it's that important. And you know what? If you can't, and you're like, Noelle, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's been going on, and right now I think we're on like video 23 or something like that. You can start from the beginning, and you can start watching those replays. So if you want to be added to that group, and you're going to be serious about doing these Zooms and just taking the time, it's going to change your world. John Wooden is literally like, people know like Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. John Wooden is one of those people. He was named the coach of the century. That's pretty much the highest honor you can get ever. And this is a very, very expensive training course that Chad is taking us through. And 2 days a week, guys. So if you want to start from the beginning, you can, and it will totally, totally change your life. So I want you to do that personal development. Why? Because it's going to get your head in the right place. It's going to get your heart in the right place, and your business is going to start to grow. Okay? So I just wanted to speak to you guys for just a minute and encourage you to dig deep and figure out what your why is. And then once you do, I want you to sit down with a journal, and I want you to brainstorm, and I want you to write it down, and I want you to just not even think about what you're writing, write fast, and nothing is too small. Nothing is stupid. Write down any and every idea that comes to your mind, and then go back and look at that and say, are all of these things really what was in my head? And then figure out, okay, do I want this? And how can I expand on that? And as you go day in and day out in this business, as you do the daily activities, you show up, you do your posts, you message people, you plug in, you do your personal development, your business is going to start to grow. And that boulder that you're pushing up the hill to develop momentum, once you've got a team working with you, 2 + 2 is no longer 4. Now 2 + 2 equals 500. And that boulder you're pushing up the hill, all of a sudden, you got it to the top of the hill. It's going to be a lot easier to push that over and watch it roll down. Let me just tell you. And that's the really fun part, is where you get to enjoy all of the hard work that you've put in. We still work hard every day. I still work my business every day, but it's not what it was when I went double diamond in 4 months. It's not what it was in my first 2 years when I was working to get to presidential. It's different. And I love being able to help all of you on your journeys and figure it out, but I can't tell you how. You got to figure out the how. I can give you some scripts and I can give you some pointers, but you have to figure out your why. Okay? So we're on 28. Yes, Patty says we're on 28. She knows. I was like 20-something. So you guys, I had like I said, I have 4 leaders that went to the Global Leadership Summit this year. And 2 of them were in Alaska and 2 of them were in Washington. And I want to bring both of them on. Do you guys mind if I unmute you at the same time? Does that work? And I just want to hear from both of you. We're going to hear from Clara Riggle, who's a diamond in the business, and Amanda Marshall, who's a double diamond. And I just want to hear from you guys. So we've been talking about Global Leadership Summit for 3 years now. And Amanda, you went, this is your 2nd year. So talk to me about just one.
Yep.
I know there were dozens of things, but talk to me about just one thing that really just you took away.
Well, I think my biggest takeaway, which isn't necessarily what I want to talk about to the team today, but the biggest takeaway I had was definitely Craig Rochelle's ending when he got us all fired up to go out and change the world. But realistically, like, keep in your mind, and it took me a long time, and you may not be thinking this yet if you're new in the business, but this business isn't just about wraps and keto coffee and enrolling loyal customers and distributors. It's so much bigger than that. And not necessarily the business itself, but what you will gain through this business and through this company. And you guys have to start looking, you know, when we're talking about why, like Noelle was talking about earlier, when I was pushing for Double Diamond, it was because I knew we were moving literally to the other corner of the country, and I didn't want my husband to go back to work. That was my why. And so I pushed and pushed and pushed until that happened. This business was that vehicle for me. And so you have to kind of realize that just because you're in It Works Global doesn't mean that that's like the only thing you should be focused on. You have the capability through this vehicle to make such an impact on the world. And you know, right now you might be thinking about paying off your credit cards and paying off your cars and being debt free. But what then? Like, what's after that? What impact are you going to leave on the world? What legacy are you going to leave for your children? And this business gives you the opportunity and is the vehicle to make those differences. So for me, it was really like, you know, we've been called to leadership for a reason. If you have ever been in a position of leadership, which you are in your household or in, you know, maybe your 9 to 5, or if you are a leader, if you know, have one loyal customer, one distributor on your team, you're now a leader. And you've been called to that position of leadership for a reason, to make an impact on other people and the world. So my biggest takeaway was definitely Craig's last little hurrah there. And like, we were given the opportunity to lead for a reason. So let's not squander it, and let's go out and actually do something about it.
That's so good. So Clara, what was one of your biggest takeaways? This is your first year. Okay, so first year, you had no idea what to expect. What were your expectations exceeded? Were you disappointed? Tell me about that.
I had no expectations whatsoever. I know I'd heard you talk about it in the past, and I kind of like in one ear and out the other. I'm like, that's something fancy leaders do, and I don't need that. But you started talking about it, and you related it to conference. And I know how you feel about conference, like you, which I feel the same way you do, that conference can make or break your business. And knowing how important conference is to you and how important it is for you to compare the two, I was like, okay, there's something to this. What's this about? So I called my sister and I'm like, okay, Noelle said we have to do this. Her day job paid for her to go because it relates to every aspect in their life. You know, I mean, everybody on here is a leader. Even if you haven't signed a single customer yet, you're still a leader because you're the leader of your business. So you have to think like a leader. And that was, you know, one of the biggest things I got from it is, how do you think like a leader and not a manager? I'm going a different direction than I planned. Sorry. But we're not managers. You know, if you want to be a manager, you can go work, you know, just stick with the 9 to 5 and, you know, manage people. But to be a leader is totally different. And that's a mindset.
That's so good. Did you have anything else you wanted to share, just that you would want to speak to your team?
Yes. Okay, so I was moved pretty much on the opposite end as Amanda, but by the same person. I have been listening to Craig Groeschel since we left. So I was telling Noelle this and Amanda this the other day too. I hate personal development. I'll just put it right out there. If I can do anything else, I would rather change dirty diapers than do personal development. I've been doing this for 4 years and I also know that I haven't grown as a leader because of that, right? So I go to this, and in the past 5 days since Friday when we left, I downloaded all the leaders that spoke, and I went to, somebody had told me, one of the girls on my team was telling me about how she listens to podcasts, and I went through and I started following all these people on podcasts, and I've done more personal development in the past 5 days than I have in 4 years. And I'm like, okay, I want more. And so that's been a really big thing. But the other thing I really wanted to talk about though was control. I am a controlling person, and I like to control things. I like to manage things. I like to tell everybody what to do and just do what I said. And the common thing through the entire summit was you can't control people. The only person you can control is yourself. You can inspire them and you can empower them. And there was one lady who told a story about how, you know, they were opening up a package and they were like tearing it and using their teeth and doing all this stuff to try and get this open. And she's freaking out. She's like, just get a pair of scissors and cut open the plastic. And at the end, the package was opened and nobody was dead. And that's kind of what it comes down to, is nobody on your team is going to do it how you think they should. They're going to do it a little bit differently, and they very possibly are going to fall flat on their face and they're going to fail, but they're not going to learn anything if they just do what you tell them to do. Now, that doesn't mean like when we give you guys scripts and things like that, like you want to take that, you want to make it your own, and you want to put that out. So things like that, that's not us telling you what to do, it's giving you suggestions. And that's our job as leaders, is to give you suggestions. You take that, you make that your own, and you can soar or you can fail. But whatever you do, you're going to learn from that. So, yeah, that was a really big thing, is just that empowering other people, even if they fail at it. If you don't empower them, they're never going to learn on their own.
And I think that is so powerful. And I'm the same way. Like, I'm totally that control freak. Like, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. Like, that's 1,000% me. And I don't trust people with important tasks, because I'm like, just stop. I'll just do it. And then the next thing I know, I've got 12,000 things on my plate, because I don't trust people to do it as well as I would do it, unless it's something I just can't do. Like, I'll have somebody come clean my house, because let's be honest, they're going to do a better job, right? But as far as like my family or my business is concerned, like I want control of that, right? But what happens is, and I'm speaking to any of you who are executives or above, because if you are an executive or above, you have a team underneath you. What happens when you are controlling and you want everything perfect and it has to be done your way, and everybody needs to check in with you every two seconds, and you know, whatever. They're not posting like you told them to. They're not messaging like you told them to. They're not checking in with you like you told them to. They're not on the calls, whatever. First of all, you're stressing yourself out about that, and that's not good for your health, let's be honest. But on the team side, they feel like they're completely stifled, because you're not letting them be themselves, and they're now an employee. And they didn't sign up in this business to be an employee, and you as a leader are not their manager. You are an independent business person. They are an independent business person. And you know what? If they want to show up for their business every day, they get to. And if you want to show up for your business every day, you get to. And if they choose not to show up for their business every day, well, then they're not going to get paid. But you still need to show up for yours so that you can get paid. And so giving your team the freedom to fly and to make mistakes is going to be the biggest blessing you can ever give to them. I'm actually going to use this as an example, because I know that she won't mind. Dawn McFeeters with a double diamond, her husband she just promoted her husband to diamond this last month. So now they're a double diamond and a diamond couple, which means that their paycheck is amazing, right? And she wanted to get him the $7,500 diamond bonus. Well, and Dawn, I know you're on here. You can tell me to shut up if you want me to. I'm going to tell your story, because I know you don't care. But in the terms and in the rules and regulations of that $7,500 diamond bonus, $7,500 diamond bonus, and all the other bonuses, it says you have to have 4 new customers in 2018. Well, she totally skipped over that, because she's building for a diamond promotion. She's not keeping the customers. She's moving them everywhere else to help her team grow. And she didn't get those 4, which means he didn't get that bonus. However, we were able to get that fixed. So he's going to start getting the bonus next month. And so she's just going to be down 1 month. But the company did not have to do that. They could have said, you missed it. You didn't read the rules. You missed it. And that would have been a $7,500 learning lesson. Guess what? Dawn's never going to go for a promotion again. She's never going to let anybody else go for a promotion again without telling them to read the document library. I mean, I had one of my very first diamonds that popped. She did not read the document library. She did not read the terms and conditions of a $10,000 diamond bonus, and she thought that she was going to get a $10,000 check the month she promoted to diamond.
Hey, can I just say something?
Yeah.
So, like, I was pissed for a minute, and I was upset for, like, literally, like, 30 seconds, and I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that. Like, how did I not do that? Like, I didn't read that. But then the same breath, I was like, well, I don't work this business for, like, the bonus. Like, I work this business to get, like, the $750 is $750, right? But I work the bonus to get the residual income every single month, which is so much more than the bonus. And so many people get caught up on the bonus. And I've had to explain to 3 people just in this last month about the $1,000 bonus. I mean, in the last 2 months. Well, why aren't they paying me the $1,000? Well, they're not paying you the $1,000 for you to get money free and walk away and leave your team and your customers hanging. Like, I don't know if that's why, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah. Because, I mean, I'm going to get, you know, I mean, just say they gave me $7,500 or $750, you know, people will take that because it's easy money, $1,000 bonus, and then they take it and walk away and leave all these customers and all this team hanging. Like, so it's to keep you working. Like, is Ruby your final destination? Is Diamond my final destination? If you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't look at it. The bonus is great, and it was upsetting, and it's whatever, and I'm thankful they're going to pay it to me going forward, which is great. But even if they hadn't, it's not about that. And because Diamond is, again, not the final destination, and neither is Ruby. And so when you don't get that bonus, say you never get the $1,000 bonus, you is that a reason to quit and stop? Or is that a reason to just continue to push and go for the next, you know, the next level? So.
No, that was so good. Thank you. And that is true. You're not here for a quick buck, right? You're here for the residual income. And that in and of itself is really hard to understand when you're brand new in the business and your paycheck was $15, right? You're like, what the heck? What residual income, right? But next month, your paycheck might be $160. And the month after that, your paycheck might be $400. And the month after that, your paycheck might be $900. And the month after that, your paycheck might be $1,500. And the month after that, your paycheck might be $2,000 or $4,000. You have total control over your paycheck, and there's no other job you can go get that's going to pay you $100,000 a year to hang out on social media. Just saying. There's no other job I can have that's going to pay me $200,000 a year to be home with my kids full time and to like go to the beach when I want. Okay? Like, I would be a really bad employee, you guys. I do not like to show up on time. I do not like to listen to bosses. I don't like to be told what to do. So this is a perfect fit for me because I kind of got an attitude, and I'm like, I can just like do what I want and show up when I want. But you know what? Because I'm working for myself, I work my ass off. Like, that's the truth. And I love what I do because I get to help all of you make more money. I get to help my customers get healthier. I get to be with my family. I get to pay cash for things. Like, it's amazing. And so don't get stuck on those little, like, don't let a road bump, what should be a bump in the road, be your stop sign, because it's not. Yeah, Dawn, Patty, her promotion. Patty, oh my gosh, Patty did term that, and Patty's one of my diamonds as well, and she had a similar thing with when she was going diamond, and you guys, like, she totally screwed up her promotion. And that's the thing we were talking about with Clara, is you have to let people fail. You have to let them figure it out. And it might not be as neat and clean as pretty as you wanted it to be, but you know what? If you don't, your emerald bonus. She missed her emerald bonus. Oh, I remember that. That was a bad night. If you don't let them fail, they are never going to learn. Don't just give somebody 5 customers and help them earn their shopping spree when they're not even like returning your texts. They're probably not even going to log in and redeem their shopping spree because they don't care. They don't care. And you cannot make somebody care. Somebody actually messaged me that the other day, and she was like, how do I motivate this person to like want to be better? And she like doesn't even have a car. She can't leave her house. She's a like single mom, like barricaded in her house because she has no job, but she has no will to do anything else with her life. And I was like, how do you motivate someone to want more than they have? And she was like, yes. And I was like, when you figure out that answer, you're going to be a bazillionaire. because you can't. So that is the answer, is you cannot. It's impossible. So, Amanda, did you have anything else that you wanted to share from the summit?
Yes. Well, okay. So a couple things. One, you know how Dawn just said, like, that's not the end game. Your rank, your Ruby bonus, that's not the end game. We had this amazing guy come and talk to us. His name was Simon Sinek. Yeah, Simon Sinek. And he talked about infinite games and finite games. And basically, like, one has an end, one doesn't. Well, obviously, life is an infinite game. Like, it ends when you die. But you don't know when that's going to happen. So you don't really have, like, a cutoff date as to when you should stop trying to make yourself better. So, exactly. You can't win life. Yep, Claire, I loved that he said that. So when you guys were talking about that, you know, I've struggled with that too. And I feel like a lot of us who promoted have fallen into that trap. Like, we promoted, and I just talked to my team about this today, like, awesome, I just went diamond. And then you just start to skate. And then things start to fall away and you're like, oh, wait, what just happened? And so you have to, like, keep going, keep trying to make yourself better. If you don't hit a bonus, it doesn't matter about your bonus because you're still making $500 a month. And if you don't hit your diamond bonus, guess what? You're still making $2,000 a month, which is insane money from working for your phone. So that's one thing, is, like, you can't win life. Life doesn't end when you know, or you don't know when life is going to end. So it's an infinite game. But also, I did want to talk a little bit about personal development, because I'm not on this exact same spot as Clara. Like, I like the idea of personal development. It's just the doing personal development that is sometimes my problem, because I have 3 small kids, and it's like, okay, doesn't matter. I can get up at 4 a.m. If I get up at 4, one of my children will be up at 4:15. Like, just enough for me to have my eyeballs open. It never ends. I know on the days where I get a full hour to myself, I'm like, God was looking out for me today because he knew I needed it. So I wake up early, and some days I get to do personal development, some days I don't. And I've always, you know, I think becoming a better leader, you learn a lot of things about your own faults. And for me, am an avid reader. I love reading. I used to love reading for pleasure, and then I had kids, and that just never happens anymore. So when I pick up a personal development book, I'm like, this could be Harry Potter, but I'm spending time on this right now. So it's definitely a battle for me. But I know, and I've been around long enough to know that enrolling loyal customers and distributors is not going to take me to the top. Like, it only takes you so far. You can only do so much by yourself. At some point, you have to develop your leadership skills, because if you can't duplicate what you're doing amongst your team, you're going to be at Ruby for the rest of your life, because it's really hard to go past that when you don't have someone else willing to do the things that you're doing. And to inspire people to do the things that you're doing, and you guys, we may not do manual labor, like we might not be on our feet for 12 hours a day, but what we do is exhausting in a completely different capacity. Like, there are days that I've worked my butt off doing what we do, and I lay down at night and I'm like, I was never this tired tending bar, ever. Like, I was never this tired when I was waiting tables, nothing like that. But you have to start developing yourself as a leader, because if you don't, your business is going to cap out. Like, you're creating a ceiling for yourself if you refuse to develop your leadership. And there's so many different ways, you guys. You know, Noelle was talking about Chad and Jerry's John Wooden Zooms every week. Those are fantastic. And occasionally I get up at 4:15 in the morning to get on those. More than occasionally I sleep past my alarm. But I watch the replays. And, you know, I'll wake up an hour before my kids. This is the thing, is if you want to get to somewhere that you're not right now, you have to make sacrifices. Just get that in your mind. And if you're like, well, I'm just so tired. If you have kids, you're going to be tired. It doesn't matter. Like, what's the difference between an hour more sleep or not? And so for me, I get up at 6 a.m. when my husband leaves for work. Like, my alarm goes off the same time as his. I get up, and the kids, I'm finally to the point where my youngest, like, sleeps without me. So I'll come downstairs, I'll grab a cup of coffee, I'll read a couple chapters in a book. And that's my me time. You guys, you need that for so many other reasons other than developing your leadership skills. Like, you need that for your self-love. Like, just give yourself some time. But if you can plug that in with your personal development, it's going to make all of the difference in your business. And I know that I've made some huge mistakes as a leader, but those mistakes were learning opportunities for me. And I wish that I could go and apologize to all of my team for the first 2 years of my business. But, you know, and on the other side of that coin, give your leaders a little grace, because we are learning just as quickly as you are. And we make a lot of mistakes. But the cool thing is that you get to learn from them as well as us. So just don't think that just signing, like, you can sign 20 loyal customers in a month and sign 15 distributors. How long until you're not going to be able to support your organization by yourself? So just know that you becoming a better leader is beneficial for you and for hundreds of thousands of people that are going to benefit from your layered leadership. So that's my 2 cents.
So good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you guys, and I just want to talk about one thing we do have. I'm so excited to talk to this person, but I just want to hit on this because Amanda was just talking about this, and you guys are going to be really mad at me, by the way. Some of you are going to be really mad at me. Feel free to send me an inbox. But we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And the only difference between somebody who's successful and somebody who's not is what you choose to do with those hours. Now, some of you choose to sleep more. Some of you choose to play games on your phone. Some of you choose to scroll Facebook. Some of you choose to watch TV. Some of you choose to spend 3 hours in the gym a day. Like, I wish that I was disciplined enough to spend an hour in the gym a day. I'm working on spending 30 minutes on myself a day, which is awesome. But like, you choose what your success is going to be. And if you are attaining to be a professional bodybuilder, well, then you better be in the gym 3 hours a day. But you can't have all of your eggs in one basket. And so if your goal is to grow your business to a certain level, then that's going to be your focus. If your focus is, if your goal is to be an awesome mom, then that needs to be your focus. You can't be going this way and that, whatever. But if you can't find an hour a day for yourself to do you, to journal, pray, read, have quiet time, if you cannot find an hour a day, you do not have a life, and you need to figure some things out. You need to figure it out and restructure, okay? Because I want you to have total control over your life. And if you don't have an hour a day, you don't have a life, okay? Your kids are not always going to be there, but you need to be the best version of you so that you can be the best mom for them. You need to be the best version of you so you can be the best spouse to your husband or wife, or the best leader for your team, whatever it is, okay? So anyway, I am going to bring somebody on, Sandra Russo, who just promoted to Ruby, and I am so excited for you guys to hear from her. Sandra's going to share her story, but one of the things that I love about Sandra is that I can always count on her. Guys, first of all, if you don't follow her on Instagram, you need to, because her Instagram rocks. I steal stuff from her story all the time. I'm just going to say that. But she is like she's always that consistent, reliable person. Like, if somebody has a question in a team chat, she will be there and she'll give them the correct answer. I love it when people give the correct answer, not the incorrect answer, by the way. So thank you, Sandra. If somebody has a question on the team page, she's going to be there to answer them, but she's still working her business, and she just promoted to Ruby last month. So Sandra, let me unmute you. Unmute yourself. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So
you said,
tell everyone, sorry.
No. You said, like, I just promoted to Ruby, and I'm like, finally. I'm like, it sounds like it was forever.
Okay, so tell everyone who you are and where you're from and how long you've been in the business.
Okay, well, my name is Sandra. I currently live in Florida, originally from Jersey. I've been in the business for 2 years and 5 months. So it took me 2 years and 5 months to promote to Ruby.
Yes. Okay. So
it took me a long time.
2 years and 5 months to promote to Ruby. So what finally made that happen?
It was weird because, like, the month of July was so hectic. I was planning my daughter's Sweet 16, and it was like the busiest month. I had family in and out of my house, and I just spoke to Stephanie Spencer, my upline, and I was just like, okay, every single month we had a promotion, I'm like, this is the month I'm going to do it. This is the month I'm going to do it. And I think everything started to line up when we had another promotion, and from host to post, I was just messaging people, and then I found my distributor, Joanna. And once she started working with me, since she lives in the same area that I grew up in, we had that instant connection where she was very focused. She's very determined. Her and I have the same personality. We click. And I think like that made it easier to work with. Like she's very like, okay, you need me to do this, I'll do that. And she's like very consistent with what she wants to do. She has her goals set and I'm right there behind her to help her. And I told Stephanie, I'm like, this is exactly this entire time, everybody that has quit on themselves, this is what I was waiting for. Like I needed somebody to work with me. And then Stephanie signed Victoria and I was just like, hello, like this is exactly what we needed. We needed these two people in our lives in order for this business to be able to work for me.
That's so good. So why did you originally start?
Well, okay. I'm one of those people that like, I don't even go to like the stores and buy like bootleg movies from the people. I'm like, no, they're not going to work. I'm very skeptical about that. So I'm like, nah, I'll rather just pay the full price, you know? So I'm like, no. But it was weird because I originally started in the culinary field and I moved down to Florida to work at Disney. It's not the happiest place on earth behind stage. It's really not. It's really, really not. It's on the outside, it's magical, but behind stage, I was miserable. Like being a female in the culinary field, you get harassed a lot, you know? And my husband's like, oh, you're good looking. And I'm like, but that's not the point. Like I'm there to do my job. And it was getting to the point that I had no support from anybody that worked there. And it was too far. My husband traveled back and forth because I don't drive. So he drove 80 miles, you know, round trip every single day. And I never saw my kids. And then I found the location closer and I was getting harassed there too. And I told my husband, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm miserable because I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get my kids ready for school, don't get home until after midnight. And I'm literally watching my kids sleep. And I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is miserable. So it was one day I told my husband, I'm like, I'm tired of following this girl on Facebook and watching her make money. And I asked her about it like 8 months before I asked her about it. And then I was just like, you know, maybe. And then she put me in a 3-way chat with her and Danny. And I was just like, no. 2 girls from the middle of the country. I was like, no, forget it. I'm like, they're going to make me be broke for the rest of my life. No thanks. So I was just like, no way. But I kept watching her and I'm like, why does she keep popping up? Every time I went on Facebook, it was just her, the first person I saw. And I'm like, there's something like, I believe in like, it's meant to be. And it was meant for me to see her. And I told my husband, I'm like, there's got to be something else I can do besides go to this job every single day and be harassed and have my husband like, I'm going to get out the car and I'm going to go in that job with you. And I'm like, no, never mind. You know, because he's like that. And then my daughter one time was in the car and she was like, do you have to go to work again? And she was crying hysterical. And I was like, I told my husband, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I really can't. So he's like, so what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm gonna quit. So he was like, okay. Like, he's very supportive. He was like, do what you got to do. So I went in there and I waited. It was my morning shift and I waited for the chef to get there. And he was like, oh yeah, we have a very busy day ahead of us. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. And he was like, a whole big fiasco. And I was like, look, I can't. I was like, you're not supporting me when I explained to you what happened. And now I'm telling you that I can't do this anymore because my anxiety at home, this not being supportive of my job, and I just can't do it. So he's like, so you're going to be broke for the rest of your life? And I'm like, I guess so. And I just left. And then my husband was in the parking lot and I was like, so now I'm going to find a job where I can work from home. I was like, I think I'm going to call that girl and see what I can tell her. He's like, what girl? And I'm like, the girl that keeps popping up on Facebook. So I literally opened my phone and sure enough, Stephanie's picture is right there. It was her holding Leo. And I'm like, this is who I'm supposed to be talking to. And we didn't talk for 8 months. I messaged her that night and I'm like, I'm ready to start. That was it. I had no questions. I was like, I didn't even care if I had the money in my account or not. I was like, I'm done. I'm ready to start. And it's been ever since then, I'm like, she's like my go-to person. I was meant to find her. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, I'm forever in debt with her because without her, I wouldn't be sitting in my house right now watching my kids. Well, they're sleeping now, but you know, I wouldn't be here with them at all for 2 years and 5 months. I wouldn't have done it.
You know what? That is so amazing because one of the things that I've learned is every 9 months, somebody has a major change in their life. Whether they have a new baby or they move or they get a divorce or they get a new job or whatever. Every 9 months, everybody has this massive shift that happens on average, of course.
Yeah.
You messaged Stephanie and then 8 months later, you were like, I'm done, right? And what I see most often, I see this way too often, is people are watching you. They're watching you and they're watching you and they're watching you and they're watching you. And then one day, 6 weeks into your business, you're like, nobody's interested. I'm just gonna stop. Nobody's messaging me. Nobody's liking my stuff. Nobody's responding to me, right? They're watching and they're waiting for you to not quit. Because if Stephanie would have quit, where would you be? Right?
I've never heard of this business before her either. So it was just like, that's why I thought her and Danny, I'm like, they're really going to steal my money because I've never heard of this company at all. Like, if it wasn't Avon, that was the only thing I've heard of. I was like, there's other companies out there. I was like, where did this happen? Where have I been? So it was all new to me.
It's just so important. I know that she didn't follow up with you, but that just shows you the importance of following up and even just checking in with people. Just check in and say, how are you doing? How's your summer going? Are you ready for your kids to go back to school? Like, those are such easy conversations to have. And you guys, we're real people. We're real people to have real relationships and help other people. And you have to reach out and like, let them know I'm still here. Like, if you're ready, I'm here. And if you're not, I'm still here. And I think that is so cool. So Sandra, you are like the Instagram queen. I love your Instagram. So give everybody an Instagram and then a Facebook tip.
Okay, with Instagram, I pretty much, I was using Instagram way before the business, and I just keep it about myself. At first I try not to make it so much about my kids because they were still young. There's pictures in there randomly about them, but now they're older. But I just made it about like me and my interests. Like I'm like an old soul. I can sit there and knit and crochet all day long, but then I would never get any customers or like any distributors. So I'm like, I had to stop doing my passion for this business, my new passion. So, I mean, I used to have a lot of posts about that. And then, just like things I like to do, like being outside. My son played sports and my daughter did competitive cheerleading. So I kept my interest out there. I like a lot of quotes and stuff like that because a lot of my conversations, I talk about, like, I quote movies all the time. Like, I'm like, Chandler said that, and like, or like I quote a lot of things from Chandler from Friends or like movies. So I'm like, it's just some things I say. So I like a lot of movies. So I just post things about that. And I'm really big on, like I said, quotes. So I like my Instagram has a theme. It's like photo, quote, photo, like everything is very aligned. So I have a theme going on. So that attracts more people too. So it's not just like pictures of flowers all over the place, So what my biggest tip is, if it's your Instagram, make it about you, because you don't want to go on your friend's page and see shared posts about a cat, shared posts about a dog, shared posts, that gets boring. So make it what you want to see. If you want your friends to get to know you and not the products first, they want to know you. So they have to see you. You have to post pictures of yourself. Whether you're uncomfortable with how you look or not, you got to do it, because they're going to see you on the streets and be like, you don't look like that, So just keep it all about you. And for Facebook,
selfie tutorial. Oh my gosh, we got like a bazillion selfie queens on this team. So guys, like, I mean, we could give you all of the tips and tricks to just take a good picture of yourself, right? Not to edit the crap out of it so that you don't look real, because like, you don't want to be that person who goes missing and then they take your Facebook profile and they can't find you because you don't look like that. You don't want to be that person. But trust me,
that's right.
If you need help, like, you just holler. I feel like we should do a Zoom, like, just on how to take good selfies for social media.
You know what it is? When you go to photographer, they edit your photos, but they enhance it. I don't really like to call it edit. They enhance it, Like, when you wake up and your hair is a mess, so you enhance it by putting a little bit of mousse and gel, and you're good to go. So you're enhancing your features. You're not just changing it completely.
Yeah.
But for Facebook, I say my biggest tip would be just be active. You have to be active. I really don't mean if you're like, you have to post 7 to 10 times a day, like, we used to before Host to Post came along, but be active, post about things, every single morning I post a good morning post, whether it's a selfie or I posted a picture of my daughter, with her safety patrol belt today. And every single morning, majority of the time, I post between 7 and 9, because on the East Coast, that's where most of my friends are awake. I get majority activity. A lot of people comment 30, 40 comments of good morning, or like up to 90 likes today, So that builds my activity right from the very beginning of the day. And then I'll go through all those likes and interact with those people. So just be active at the times you want. Don't use certain third-party apps that, tell you when to post. Just when you're on Facebook, post a question like, are you glad your kids are back in school because now your head doesn't hurt anymore, you know? Or are you bored because your kids are in school and you have nobody bothering you? Something simple like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I try to post like throughout the day, like the morning, the afternoon, and then in the evening time. But most of my posts, like, unless I want them public, they're more set to like my potentials list so that, you know, it's more business related. But I'm posting all the time. So I just think staying consistent with posting is very important for Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. And you guys, like, your open sign for your business is your mouth, is your social media. So every day that you're not on there, you're closed for business. And you need to be open for business 365 days a year. You know, what I post on Christmas is very different from what I might post a different day of the year, but every single day I'm posting and every single day I'm active. And like Sandra said, you need to be active. Okay, well, I am so stinking proud of you. Almost 2.5 years. You finally went Ruby.
But it was well worth it. It was well worth the wait.
This is just the beginning for you. So when are you going to Emerald?
I don't know.
Tell me. Right?
You know what? I'm gonna let God play things out for me.
And you have the right people. And I think that is what you guys, it literally only takes 2 people to take you all the way to Double Diamond. It takes you 2 runners to get from executive to Ruby to Emerald to Diamond to Double Diamond. Okay? 2 people. And if you find those right 2 people, your business is going to explode. It will be completely unstoppable. So, Sandra, I am so excited for you. I'm so thankful that you are here day in and day out and that you are always willing to support the team.
Thank you.
Go follow her on Instagram. She's amazing. And her sponsor, Stephanie Spencer, is amazing. She totally rocks Instagram as well. So anyway, thank you so much for being on. Thank you guys for sticking with us for a little bit over an hour. This was a really long Zoom, but it was so good to see your faces. And I would love to hear your aha moments. So if you got something out of this from somebody who shared, Clara, Amanda, Sandra, or myself, please go onto our Facebook pages and let us know. You guys, we want to know the changes that you're going to make and how this is impacting you on a daily basis. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.